यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य
ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः सर्वोपप्लवरहित प्रज्ञान घन प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्माहमस्मि सोहमस्मि ब्रह्माहमस्मि। ओम प्रपन्न पारिजाताय तोत्र वेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। May the Almighty Shri Lord Venkateshwara bestow all kinds of prosperity, health, wealth and eternal happiness with Paripurna Lakshmi Katakshams to you and the entire your family and friends. Let us begin Bhagavad Gita, verse number 8 of 16th chapter. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Asatyam Apratithante Jagadahuranishwaram अपरस्पर संभूतम किमन्यत् काम हैतुकम. So Bhagavan has begun to describe about Asura Sampat from verse number 4. In between he confirmed Asura Sampat won't help to have a successful life. Daivi Sampat Vimokshaya Nibandhaya Asuri Matha. Asuri Nibandhaya. Just you will be bound by karma phalas. But if you want Devi Sampat, you will be traveling towards liberation, Vimokshaya. That is the proper destination, which is known as moksha. In these words especially, Bhagavan talks about three things which are very important in our life. The knowledge of Vedas and knowledge of Dharma, then knowledge of Ishvara. All these three are unique by their own nature. Vedas are which is in the form of knowledge. The sounds of Vedas, Shabda Pramanam, they are evidence through Shabdas. They become evident through Shabdas. Only that Pramana can be a valid Pramana in our life. But a human being from the childhood, you and me and everyone, we believe on our own pramanas. What do we have as pramanas? Our sense organs. That too especially only 5 sense organs. You know, the organs which help us to get knowledge from outside, data from outside. Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasa Gandham is the matters. Shabda means sound. Sound is received through hearing capacity. Forms and colors are received through eyes. You know, there is only one word in Sanskrit for form and color. That is Rupa. So this Chakshurindriya, which is known as seeing capacity, is connected with Rupa. And tasting capacity, which is connected with the taste. Smelling capacity, which is connected with smell. Now this world is understood as the 5 kinds of knowledge and mind which receives the data. It sets likes and dislikes towards that experience. The data are received as in the form of experiences. Mind sets likes and dislikes. I don't like this smell. I like only this smell. I don't like this taste. I like only that taste. I don't like this color. I like that color. All these likes and dislikes is because of human mind. And Buddhi is there to make a decision. But if the Buddhi is not be endowed with Shastra knowledge, the people cannot understand the world and the reality of the world. The world is a kind of unique entity which makes us suffer. Therefore, we have to be careful. From the childhood, we have not been introduced properly the knowledge of Shastra. All are same, you and me and everyone. We were not introduced this knowledge of Shastra properly. So this is a big loss for us. If we would have got simple, certain punya, that certain punya will bring somebody as guru. That guru will lead us towards Shastra. That Shastra becomes a valid pramana. It becomes one more indriya. There are 5 sense organs, a mind, a buddhi. Now the buddhi should have the valid pramana. Buddhi should not depend on mind and these 5 organs. If it depends on this, they will conclude this world is only the place for enjoyment. They don't accept the concept of the God. The concept of God has to be accepted. The concept of dharma to be accepted. Both of those acceptance only possible when people are able to accept Shastra as pramana. Pramana means valuing Shastra. And these asuras who don't value the pramanam which is called Shastra. Now here asatya means Veda pramanam. Vedas are the pramana. Veda can see which we cannot see. Vedas can give the particular completely about me, without which I cannot have the knowledge about me. The importance of Vedas must be understood properly. Once you are able to accept Veda as pramana, then you will come to know the fact of dharma, by which everything is created and sustained and destructed. That is what is known as dharma. The law of dharma means order of dharma has to be realized, because that is so subtle, it is not visible. Even karma phalas are not visible. Veda alone brings the concept of karma phala. There are 2 kinds of karma phala. One is punya and one is papa. Punya means it's a kind of result of a particular action which fructifies good experience. Papa means it's a result of particular action which brings a painful experience to us. Therefore, these papa and punyas are introduced by Shastra alone. The concept of God is introduced by Shastra. If you want to deny the God, you have to study Shastra, because the God is introduced in Shastra. First, you should know in what way it is being introduced. Then you can deny. But these asuras, they are not able to accept Vedas as pramana. Therefore, they are not aware about the concept of dharma and the concept of Ishvara. And also think the world is because of only the union of male and female. That's what they think. Because my life is due to my parents. So I was born because of my parents. So my parents were born because of those parents. So those people were born because of those parents. Why God? There is no need of a God. That's what their conclusion is. Not knowing the reality. Aparaspara sambhutam kama haitukam. For them, this world is only in order to have pursuit of happiness. This is kama haitukam. This world is. This body is for enjoyment, I have to enjoy through this body. The human life is only for enjoyment. And after 60 or after 65 years, when body is not able to cope up with their desires, then they will become confused. Therefore, these atheist people are very dangerous, because they have lost people. There's 3 things. But non-atheist people, they are able to accept Veda as pramana. Therefore, their target becomes clear. They will become very clear about their ultimate destination. When you accept, in the beginning itself, Shastra introduces, my dear, there are 4 kinds of goals. Only there are 4 kinds of goals for the humanity which is said in Shastra. What are they? Seeking for security, seeking for pleasure, seeking for dharma, seeking for moksha. And seeking for security, we are able to understand, yes, every creature wants to have security. Do you have insecurity? And nowadays there are so many insecurity, life-threatening factor. Job, we need to have job security. We need to have insurance, that is also a kind of security. We need to have health insurance, we need to have wealth insurance, we need to have organs insurance. All these things are done in order to secure my life. My life continues with insecurity. And not only that, my effort of my life only to seek security and pleasure. If I am secure, I would target for pleasure. Therefore, these people, they only think this world is only place for pleasure. Therefore, I should become secure, I can be happy. I have to, make effort to get happiness. That is the conclusion of those people. But the spiritual people, they are able to believe what Vedas say. When they believe, when they accept Veda become as a third eye, which is powerful eye. I mean, the third eye is called nothing but Buddhi is called third eye. Third eye, that Buddhi which is enlightened by Shastra, becomes a very powerful eye. It can see what others cannot see. It can see the law of dharma. It can understand the law of dharma. And it can understand about the subtlety of Ishvara. And it can understand Astitva of Ishvara, the existence of Ishvara. And it can get connected with Ishvara. That is what the glory of this Shastra. Bhagavan says, these people, they don't have value towards Vedas, therefore what? They lose the concept of dharma, which is known as pratyartham. Pratyartham means dharma here. That which is established properly. What is established properly? Dharma is established. Dharati iti dharmaha, dharyati iti dharmaha, yagadireva dharmaha. The sustaining is because of dharma. Therefore, that which is established, but these people are apratyartham, means they are not ready to accept the law of dharma. Even they cannot understand. If at all anybody says, don't commit anything, don't commit yourself with wrongdoing. If you say so, they won't listen. They say, if we want to live, we can kill others. We can destroy others' security. These are all the people. Now you can apply all this quality to all these asuras, demons which are introduced in Itihasa and Purana. All demons, Shumba, Nishumbha, Ravaneshwara, Narakashura, Hiranyakashipu, Banashura and Mahishasura. All these asuras, they were very active people. They were able to conquer the world because of the power. The power they got through austerity, the life of austerity. They used to have lots of tapas. Due to tapas, they were able to get the strength, but they utilized the strength in wrong way. Why? Because they were lacking the knowledge of Shastra. They were not able to accept. But finally they will be defeated. And the defeat also, it is not going to be normal. You just think about the death of Duryodhana, the death of Ravaneshwara, and the death of Hiranyakashipu. All these asuras. But all those characters, finally, they were slayed by Ishvara. But nowadays, even we can see there are so many asuras. And we are not going to judge on anybody. Okay, but we can judge ourselves whether we are endowed with this or not. And there are good people who are able to accept Vedanta. They are not ready to accept the concept of God. The concept of God has to be accepted. And now they are very confused. God means what? God means it's a power. Okay, Vedanta also says it's a power. So, I'm connected with God. How are you connected with God? Are you able to follow the rituals which are prescribed by Vedas? No, sir. Then how can you follow? How can you get connected with that? All rituals are formulas. The formulas which helps us to connect with God. These 8 words of the 16th chapter is very important. There are 3 kinds of knowledge. Those knowledge confirms we are the non-atheist people. Bhakta. The person who is able to accept Vedas as a pramana, a valid pramana, he will be able to establish himself in dharma. Then he become a part of dharma. The dharma, by following which it protects you. Dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. If we want to discuss about the dharma, we can discuss it for a week. The law of dharma is everything. Every single thought is nothing but dharma. Every single atom, it has got its own order. All planets, they go in their orbit because of dharma. Everything is maths, calculation. We are not able to understand what the calculations are done by Ishvara to grow a people tree. A small seed, it expands itself as a huge tree. It's because of what? All wonders because of dharma. The Ishvara is the Karta of this world. But these people, they don't accept, there is a Karta. Karta means what? Creator. There is a Creator. The Creator is not able to accept it by those people. They are not even now. Therefore, what happens? Etam drishtimavashtabhya nashtatmanolpa buddhayah prabhavantyugra karmanaha kshayaya jagato hitaha. Having such view, having just wrong view, Bhagavan is talking about this alpa buddhi people. Alpa buddhaya means we can say, indiscriminate people whose buddhi is narrowed. They cannot think beyond a certain territory. Therefore, what? The lost spiritual people. Means their spiritual growth is not seen a single bit. Then what? They will become Ugra Karmanaha. Ugra Karmana means people who commit all kinds of wrongdoing. They only make effort to destroy the world. They know only how to destroy the universe. Then what? They cannot have a proper life. That's what these demons, Asura Sampat, Rakshasa Sampat. Bhagavan continues in the next verse, even let us continue. Kamam ashritya dushpuram dambhamanamadhanvitaha mohat grihitva sadgrahan pravartante shuchivrataha. Kamam ashritya dushpuram. Do you know? Dushpuram means the unfulfilled desires. Their desire cannot be fulfilled. Because a person who is not able to accept the Vedas, they won't be having knowledge about 3 gunas. Do you know what are they? Sattva, Rajas, Tama. They cannot establish themselves in Sattva guna. And it is said in Ramayana, the Ravaneshwara, who is an example for Rajoguna, Vibhishana, who is example for Sattva guna, and Kumbhakarna, who is example for Tamoguna. And one more character, the Ravana's son Indrajit, who is also an example for Rajoguna. This is in Ramayana. In Mahabharata, there are so many examples. All these, Duryodhana people are examples for Rajoguna. And this Shakuni, he is an example for this Tamoguna. Tamoguna means, completely thinking against Dharma. And Duryodhana, who were not having brain at all, utter tamas and rajas. A person who is dominated by tamas and rajas, he cannot have a successful life at all. These are all general formulas, by which we can understand our sthiti, our condition, how do we live our life. Having desires which cannot be fulfilled, dambha mana madanvitaha, and also endowed with all kinds of this wrong attitudes. Dambha means with show up, always showing up. Mana madanvitaha, who expect self-respect, always making the ego as a center point of his life. Mohat grihitva asat grahan, always hanging over asat, always depending on asat. Asat means what? All object which have got limitations. There are two kinds of limitations, time-wise and space-wise. Their life is dependent on the dead materials. Therefore, we can see there are movies. In those movies, these asuras are introduced, and the asuras won't have their life in their sharira. The life will be kept in jaan bolte hain usko. The life, it can be kept in a parrot, in a bird, in a stone, in somewhere, It looks like, so having desire towards something, you just, you superimpose your life on it. Okay, so you just, you lend your life to that entity. You become a person who hangs on it. Like a person about whom I introduced, a person who liked his pen very well. When the pen was broken, that's all, his life was so shaking, because he thought, without the pen I am not. Making a pen as a center point of a life. Like asuras, they were not having their life in their body, they will be keeping somewhere else because of insecurity. How strong they are doesn't matter, but still they were living with insecurity. Now, the conclusion by these three verses, the asura's life, which lacks for the knowledge of Shastra, knowledge of Dharma, knowledge of Ishvara, and which is loaded with lots of unfulfilled desire, insecurity, and longing and craving for the enjoyments. We will continue from next class tomorrow. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namo Namaha. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.